Hi, Plain English listeners. A quick message before this episode. It's that time of year again. We're going to have some Black Friday specials this year, and I don't want you to miss them. Now, I don't have all the details finished yet, but I wanted to give you the chance to be the first to know about the promotion when it comes out. So if you're interested in upgrading your English in 2025, go to plainenglish.com/black, BLACK. Enter your details there, and you'll be the first to know about what we're doing this Black Friday. Sound good? plainenglish.com/black, plainenglish.com/BLACK. You've probably tasted milk from a cow. You may have had goat milk, and you may have at least heard of sheep's milk. But did you know you can also drink milk from a camel? It's true. Hi everyone, I'm Jeff, and this is Plain English, where we help you upgrade your English with stories about current events and trending topics. The great thing about our stories is this: you get to learn about the world at the same time as you learn new words in English. Now, before we start, a camel is the desert animal with 1 or 2 humps on its back. And yes, you can drink its milk. You will learn all about it in today's story. In the second half of the episode, I'll show you what it means to cut back on something. This is episode number 729 of Plain English, so you can find the full transcript, exercises, activities, and practice opportunities at plainenglish.com/729. Thirsty? Let's learn about camel milk together. Just a quick note before we start today's episode. I'm hard at work getting our Black Friday specials ready to go, and I don't want you to miss it when it comes out. One thing I can tell you, the Black Friday special is going to include our new Video Lab. It's a new feature of Plain English where our members record videos of themselves answering questions, and they get personal video feedback from me. This is just one of the great ways you can improve with us in Plain English. So if English is a priority for you in 2025, then make Plain English part of your Black Friday plans. Go to plainenglish.com/black, BLACK, and you'll be the first to hear about our specials this year. Now, here's today's story. You might see a new kind of milk on your grocery store shelves, and it's not plant-based. Humans can drink milk from cows, goats, sheep, and camels. And now, camel milk is growing in popularity because of its nutritional profile and environmental properties. Nomadic societies in the Middle East, Africa, and Central Asia have been drinking camel milk for millennia. In fact, some camel herders have been known to survive on camel milk alone for up to a month as they traverse long distances in the desert. In Africa today, you can buy fresh camel milk in plastic cups on the street. But now, from Africa to Europe to North America, camel milk is going mainstream. You can find it professionally packaged in the refrigerated section of grocery stores in Kenya. You can order it by mail in Europe, Australia, and the United States. You can cool off with camel milk ice cream in sweltering Dubai. And you can buy camel milk powder around the world on Amazon. One thing you can't do with camel milk, you can't easily make it into cheese or yogurt. Camel milk tastes like bovine milk, but it has a different nutritional profile. First, it has much lower levels of lactose, so many people find it easier to digest. Some people are allergic to certain chemicals in cow's milk, but they can drink camel milk with no problem. Camel milk is also rich in iron, calcium, and vitamins C and B. It tends to have less fat than cow's milk. Some studies suggest that it lowers blood sugar levels, which can help people manage diabetes. And other research finds that it can boost your immune system. Camel milk is more environmentally friendly than cow's milk. If you think of dairy production, a cow or a camel has one job: turn energy from the sun into energy that humans can use. The sun powers the plants feed the animals feed the humans. Well, it turns out that camels are better at this than cows are. To produce the same amount of nutrition, camels require much less food and water. Camels also release less methane into the atmosphere, an important consideration considering methane is a greenhouse gas that contributes to climate change. Dairy cows need to be kept cool, sometimes with air conditioning, but camels are desert animals, so they're comfortable in low or high temperatures, no AC or other cooling techniques needed. There's also less processing involved in the milk production. The fat in cow's milk is not evenly distributed throughout the liquid, so it needs to be homogenized. That's an industrial compression process to make the liquid more consistent or homogeneous. But camel milk is naturally homogeneous, so it doesn't need to go through this industrial process before it can be served. So camel milk is healthy, efficient, and better for the environment than cow's milk is. Will we all be drinking camel milk soon? Not so fast. There are some challenges. First, one camel produces much less milk than one cow does, not only on a daily basis, but also on a yearly basis. Camels have longer gestation periods, times in which milk can't be produced. And camels only produce milk after they have given birth to calves. They can't be induced to lactate like cows can. All that contributes to lower overall production per animal. Second, cows are docile. They do what you tell them to do. Camels have a mind of their own. They can be aggressive, so it's harder and more dangerous to control them in larger farms. Camels are great at surviving in the desert where there's very little food. But to expand camel milk production, desert farmers need to put more camels in a small space, and that means importing food. Some farms in the Middle East feed their camels with alfalfa imported from California. Flying food halfway around the world partially offsets the environmental benefit of using camel milk. But it does make sense in specific places. Swapping cows for camels in sub-Saharan Africa can save money and increase the food supply in an area short of rainfall and animal feed. And it can remain a high-priced niche product for consumers in developed markets. You might be able to find camel milk on the shelves of your local supermarket, but your best bet is to order it from a camel farm. They have them in Europe, the US, Canada, and Australia, among other places. Here's what you need to know if you're going to order fresh camel milk. First, you can order it raw or pasteurized. Raw milk is minimally processed and can be stored at room temperature, but it lasts only 4 days. Alternatively, it can be pasteurized, similar to bovine milk. It's heated to 72 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds to kill harmful bacteria. Pasteurized camel milk can stay fresh for about 10 days to 2 weeks in the refrigerator. Still can't drink it that fast? You can freeze fresh camel milk and drink it later. The powdered version is even easier. Just mix it with water and drink. There are even camel milk capsules you can take if you just want the nutrition without the beverage. Who knew? I read an article that quotes some people in Kenya saying that the pasteurized stuff on the grocery store shelves just isn't the same as the fresh camel milk available on the roadside, and I don't doubt it. According to the articles I've read, camel milk tastes much like cow's milk, but it can be sweeter or saltier based on the time of year and the type of vegetation in the camel's diet. Now, here are some of the ways you can use camel milk besides just drinking it in a glass. In Africa, it's common to put camel milk in a stiff type of hot cereal. Camel milk tea is common. To make camel milk tea, you boil the milk, tea leaves, and water together, then filter it and serve. But if it's too hot for camel milk tea, you can always have a camel milk shake. Strawberry and vanilla are popular flavors. Today's expression is cut back on. This first appeared in episode 221, and the episode was about someone named Carol Spinney. Now, unless you remember that episode, I bet you don't know the name Carol Spinney, but he played a character that a lot of you do know. He played Big Bird on Sesame Street, and he died in 2020, and that's what the episode was about. And I said that toward the end of his career, Spinney had cut back on his workload. So now you're prepared to learn cut back on. Ernie and Bert were my favorites. Most people liked Big Bird the best, but my favorite characters were Ernie and Bert. Ernie especially. I think I had trouble saying Bert, so that's why I liked Ernie better. What an incredible talent. So this is just a great phrasal verb today, and timely too as we head into the new year. The phrasal verb is cut back on, to cut back on something. Let's think about what that means. Here's how you heard it. After more than 4 decades playing the oversized Big Bird, Carol Spinney cut back on his Sesame Street duties. After 2015, he just provided the voice and let his understudy move around inside the 8-foot-tall canary. He cut back on his duties. He reduced his duties, but he didn't give them up completely. When you cut back on something, You are reducing the amount of it in your life. Carol Spinney cut back on his Sesame Street duties. He didn't quit, he didn't stop, but he just reduced his duties. Why do I say that this is timely here at the beginning of the year? Some of you might have New Year's resolutions that involve cutting back on things in your life. I'm going to try to cut back on my business travel in the coming year. Although I do like to be face-to-face with my clients and my teams in other cities, the travel has started to tire me out. So I'm going to try to cut back on the travel. I can't eliminate it entirely. I don't want to, but I would like to do a little bit less. I'm going to cut back on traveling. Some of you might want to cut back on eating junk food. That's a common New Year's resolution. You might want to cut back on junk food or cut back on drinking alcohol, like we talked about in a recent episode. You might want to cut back on salt if you have high blood pressure. You could cut back on watching television late at night if you find that you have trouble sleeping. You might be seeing a pattern here. You can cut back on an activity like watching television, or you can cut back on a thing like salt or sugary drinks. The important thing here is that you use cut back on when you mean a reduction in the amount of something. If you want to imply more than a gradual reduction, then you can say cut way back. My friend went to the doctor and found he had very high blood pressure. His doctor told him to cut way back on salt. That doesn't mean just reducing things like French fries and such. That means everything with salt and preservatives, seasonings, marinades, even pasta sauce can have a lot of salt in it. If you're cutting way back on salt, you need to read the labels on everything and keep track of how much you have. That's because to cut way back on something means to reduce it drastically, reduce it a lot. What could you cut way back on? If you lead a relatively healthy lifestyle, then you can't cut way back on junk food because you're not eating a lot of it in the first place. But if you have a sugary drink every day, then switching to just once a week would be cutting way back. You might decide your kids need to cut way back on their screen time so you can disconnect the Wi-Fi in your house after dinner. Talk about torture. Okay, the song of the week is Bein' Green by someone who would know quite a bit about being green, Kermit the Frog. This was the song that Kermit always sings on Sesame Street. The creator of Sesame Street, Jim Henson, died in 1990, and Carol Spinney sang this song in character as Big Bird at Henson's funeral. The song starts out with Kermit singing that it's not easy being green, blending into the color of trees and leaves. He says it would be so much better to be red or yellow or gold. But by the end of the song, he says that green is beautiful, and that's exactly what he wants to be. It's a song about knowing and accepting yourself. Being Green, written by Joe Raposo and performed so often by Jim Henson as Kermit the Frog. That's it for this first episode of Plain English in 2020. Don't forget to join us on Monday for another episode. If you're serious about improving in English in 2020, then I encourage you to check out Plain English Plus. One of the best features of Plain English Plus is our video lessons. With each episode, twice a week, we highlight one little piece of grammar or English usage, and we show you how to use it in a video lesson. And if you think it's just sitting back and watching, it's not. You get to write your own sentences right from inside the video. And these videos show you ways to connect ideas, develop your thoughts, and sound more professional in your writing and speaking. If this sounds like what you need, then come check us out at plainenglish.com/plus. I had just an absolutely amazing headline for this episode, for the website, but I don't think I'm going to use it. The headline was this: drink camel milk and every day can be hump day. And I just don't think enough people would understand it. Hump day is an expression in English. It means Wednesday. Because if you work 5 days a week, and if you get through Wednesday, you're over the hump, meaning you've gone uphill on Monday and Tuesday, you did Wednesday, and now you're going downhill on Thursday and Friday. So that's why we say Wednesday is hump day. And a hump is also the thing on a camel's back. So the perfect headline was make every day hump day with camel's milk, or drink camel's milk and any day can be hump day. But you know, the saying goes, if you have to explain the joke, it's not funny. So I guess I'll have to think of another headline. Anyway, see what I came up with. Go to plainenglish.com/729 for the full article, a fun picture of a camel, the translations, exercises, and more. plainenglish.com/729, and we will see you back here on Monday. Bye for now. Listen up if you speak Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, or Turkish. One of the most frustrating things about listening and reading in a second language is being confused by unfamiliar words or phrases. When you listen to plain English, or when you read the transcript, you probably encounter some words you don't know. When that happens, you have a few options. You can stop the audio, go look up the definition, then return to the episode, find your place, and press play again, but that's exhausting. Or you can just skip it and be confused. That's no fun either. But what if you could see the translation of the word into your language instantly without having to stop the audio, without having to look anything up? Well, you can at plainenglish.com. For each episode, we translate about 100 words and phrases from English to 9 languages: Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, and Turkish. And we highlight those words in blue. All you have to do is hover your mouse over the highlighted word, and you'll see the translation instantly. It works great on mobile too. It really makes listening a lot more satisfying, and it's a great way to expand your vocabulary in English. The best way to see these translations is to sign up for a free 14-day trial at plainenglish.com. During your trial, you can read as many transcripts as you like, all with the translations into your language. So sign up for your free trial today at plainenglish.com.